I feel like rod companies are confusing their customer when they talk about rod actions, rod powers, and what they need to be successful on the water. I was literally talking to a guy yesterday, new to the fishing community. He's trying to figure out where his place is, what he's gonna do, how to catch fish. In all honesty, fishing is pretty freaking simple. Don't let that statement, I don't want to upset anybody. Fishing is actually pretty simple. I'm gonna get something to drink because it's 100 and something degrees today. Literally, not figuratively speaking. Very, very hot day today. But for the most part, fishing is actually very simple. But we make it very complicated. And it gets complicated. It gets the most complicated when we're not getting bites and we don't know what to do. It's very, very frustrating for me, especially because I have hands-on with anglers every day, all day, when it comes to just teaching them how to fish. And so much energy is wasted on things that don't matter enough. I had a guy that's not necessarily new to fishing, but he's fishing more than he's ever fished now. One thing he expressed to me is that sometimes he gets confused about which rod he needs to use for whatever technique he's doing. And I felt his pain so deeply when he was telling me that. Because every YouTuber, including myself, I've created rods that are technique specific. I've labeled them specific for this, or specific for crankbaits, or specific for flipping, or specific for chatterbait. And it's created this false narrative that you have to have a certain rod for a certain technique. I want if you're new to fishing, this video, if you're an expert fisherman, if you're even an intermediate fisherman, this video is not necessarily geared towards you. This is for people that just started fishing. I want you to listen to what I'm about to tell you. You and you can catch a fish on any rod. You don't have to have a special rod to catch a fish. I'm sorry that we have made it sound like you have to have a graphite composite. I'm sorry that we have made it seem like you have to have a 7'2" fast, because if you get a 7'2" moderate, then you might not be able to, I don't know, you might not be able to wipe your nose or something. I'm so sorry that we've created that narrative and haven't really told the truth about catching fish. You can catch a fish on any of those rods you have. In fact, I encourage you to everything that we say about rod action, powers, lengths, reel speeds, line, we're just sharing our experience and what we have found that work best for us for the conditions that we fish in personal. It's all personal experience. Every last bit of it is personal experience. I'm so sorry that we have made it sound like if you don't use this level MGX 7-8 heavy fast flipping, that you won't be able to catch a bass. I'm so sorry that that's the way we've made it come across. That's not true. You can come out here and catch a fish with your 7-foot rod that you got, H2O that you got from Academy. You could catch one with it. I don't care what bait you use. You could throw a crankbait on whatever rod you got, a spinning rod, and still catch a fish. You still can't. It does not matter what size line, what composition line, what rod, what reel speed, spinning, casting. None of that actually matters in the beginning. It doesn't matter. So try not to use your energy too much on repeating what someone else said to use for rods, even if it's me. What I want you to focus on is just going out, finding fish, paying attention to the conditions, and adjusting and recognizing where you're getting bit and where you're not getting bit. That's what I want you to spend your energy on, okay? What rod ain't gonna do nothing until you got the bite? Until you got the bite, the rod doesn't matter enough. And if you just started fishing the rods, just get you 2 rods, 3 rods. When I was 13, 14, 15 years old, I only had 3 or 4 rods. I always had 1 spinning rod and 3 or 4 bait casters. And I threw buzz baits, crank baits. I threw whatever I needed to fish on those 3 to 4 rods. I'm pretty sure I had 3 bait casters and 1 spinning rod. and a tackle box. Most of you kids today don't know what a tackle box is. If you're 40 plus, you know what I'm talking about when I say tackle box. When I say tackle box, I'm not talking about one of these things that I got in my boat right here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about this. Now we have 45 of these in our boat. I'm talking about a tackle box was a square box and it had layers in there and you had your sinkers. You had every piece of tackle that you own in this one box. It was one box. Somehow when the boats got bigger and we started having more storage in our boats, we started having different tackle storage systems. But in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you had a tackle box. Pro fishermen had one box about this big that they used to carry. They had everything in there from terminal gear to hooks to crankbaits. You had 4 crankbaits in there. You had 2 spinnerbaits in there. You had about 3 packs of worms, 7 hooks, a couple beads for a Carolina rig, some swivels, some float worms. That's all you had 30 years ago. That's how old I am. If that's all you got, you'll still be able to catch a fish, man. You'll be able to catch a fish. So don't burn your energy trying to figure out, okay, I got a shaky head. Now I need a 7-foot medium heavy fast with a slow tip and an extra moderate guides on it. Don't worry about that right now. Let me tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna figure all that stuff out by default by getting bites. Once you listen, this makes me happy. Once you start catching fish, once you start putting together that it's sunny and I need to push deeper into the grass, once you start putting together that the fact that the water's muddy and if I roll the spinnerbait really slow by some type of vertical structure, I'll get bit. Once you start putting that stuff together just like that, you're gonna start getting bites. And when you get a bite and your rod is too stiff, you're gonna figure out, oh gosh dang, I lost a 7-pounder because my line broke and I was using 10-pound tests on a stiff rod. You're gonna learn that you need to get a rod that's got a little bit more in it. You're gonna start to figure that out. So don't waste your energy on that, on rod composition in the beginning. Once you get bites, once you start getting some break-offs, once you start catching fish, losing fish, and listen, all of those things that I just mentioned, you cannot avoid them. That is a part of the process of learning how to fish. Losing fish, breaking off, backlashing, all of us went through the same thing and all of us are still doing the same. I'm still doing the same still. I'm still breaking off occasionally. I'm still backlashing occasionally. I'm still losing a fish occasionally. That never stops. It reduces. It does reduce, but it never stops. Once you start catching fish, you're gonna realize, experiment with the rods that you got and you're gonna see, oh, I'm losing a lot of fish on a crankbait today. Maybe I need to take that braided line off. Oh, I open up my hook on the hook set. Maybe on this shaky head, I shouldn't be using a 7/8 fast and I should go to a spinning rod. Oh, when I throw that shad wrap, I backlash every single cast. Maybe I need to put it on a spinning rod. That right there is almost 70% of what fishing is. The process of something happened and you adjusting. Something happens and you adjust. And that's all through the entire process, from backlashing to learning how to not backlash, to learn how to fish when it's sunny like it is today, to when it's cloudy. 2 hours ago it was raining and thundering. Now it's out sunny. My fishing is going to change. That process happens over and over and over and over for you. It never stops. As long as you live and as long as you fish, you will be doing the same thing. So you might as well start it from the beginning. So don't waste your energy on that. It's good to have the right rod. I don't want you to waste your energy in that yet, until it's time. Focus on getting bites, and getting bites is going to be your schoolmaster to using the right gear. You can join my school. I got a school where I teach people how to catch fish. Go sufschool.com, shameless plug. Go to my school and I teach people how to use the right gear. If you don't want to use my school, that's okay, that's cool. But you don't have to have all the right rods. You're not gonna have them from the beginning. If you're rich and you want to blow some money on rods, that's cool, but still you probably ain't gonna catch no fish. It ain't gonna help you that much in the beginning. Very advanced stuff, and at least intermediate, before you start worrying about having the right rod, reel combo. My little boy, I got 2 boys. My little baby girl, she's just not quite ready to fish yet. She's going to. She's gonna at least be exposed to it. She ain't got to love it, but she got to be exposed to it. Your name will not be Latimer and you not know how to catch a fish if you need to. My two boys, Brevin has 2 rods. My middle son that loves fishing, that fishes with me at least twice a week, 1 rod. 1 rod. They're beginners. They don't need a bunch of rods. They don't feel that. They don't feel the difference enough. It's not worth it. 1 rod. I'm a professional fisherman. My kids, and it's not because we don't have it and they don't have the resources. They got unlimited resources to rods. Brevin, 2 rods. He has a bait caster and a spinning rod. Brooks, you know what? Brooks does have 2 rods. He just got off the push button. Brooks is now on a spinning reel. He has a push button and a spinning rod. That's all he needs. He just needs to fish right now. He needs to learn right now I'm worried about him learning how to cast. Right now I'm worried about him learning what a bite feels like. And right now I'm worried about him learning how to set the hook. That's all. And he can do all 3 of those things regardless of what kind of rod it is. Regardless of what action, power, none of that, how you set the hook, how you cast, how you feel the bite, none of that is dependent on the power or action of the rod. All right? Don't waste your energy on that. There's more important stuff you need to worry about right now. You can catch a bass on some of them rods you already got. You ain't got to buy one for every technique. That's all I wanted to say.